Good morning and welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. I'm Tony Haggerty, as you all know by now, probably sick of my ugly big mush, but hey, what can you do? Haggerty10 on the Twitter handle, and I'm joined once again by Alison McConnell. Alison, good morning, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
I'm very well, thanks a lot. Now, we'll dive straight headlong into it, Alison. Celtic versus Real Betis. Goodness knows what team Ange will play, but he's said that it's not a dead rubber. And so the question is, whatever team he plays, can Celtic finish the Europa League group stages with a flourish?
I think that will certainly be the aim. I think it's not the be all and end all. I think when you factor in what else is going on this month, I don't think Celtic season will be too defined by what happens this evening. Whereas I think it could be elsewhere, as we go deeper into December. I think he will want to win the game or take something from the game and try and keep confidence high and keep momentum going. I think it will be an unfamiliar starting lineup that we see. I think there will be ample changes made to the starting lineup, and I think that makes perfect sense, to be honest with you. But I think for any footballer, the ambition and the aim when you walk onto the park is always to go and give a good account of yourself and try and come away with something. I think it's a pity it's not a live game in the sense that there's some kind of fate determined on it. I think if Celtic had managed to hang on and get something in the last game, then I think it would have been a fairly cracking atmosphere tonight, and it would have been a very, very different encounter as to the kind of game that it will be.
Yeah, as you say, it'd have been one of those great European special nights if it all hinged on this, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If it was a straight shootout, Celtic would have been right up for that. Now, you mentioned the atmosphere there. Don't want to dwell on it, but again, there might be another protest, Alison, silent protest by the Green Brigade faction of Celtic supporters, and said that they won't take part in any singing. Now, Welsh was asked about that yesterday, and he said that when you're on the park, you can block out the noise and stuff. It doesn't really affect players. So I guess that's what will happen with most players. They'll just try and block it out regardless, and I don't think it'll affect them too much. Do you?
No, I don't think so. I think they'll get their message loud and clear by being silent. I think the message has come across unambiguously. I think Celtic are well aware of the feeling about the appointment within their own support. My own view on it would be that that there has to be some consideration given to the people who turn up to support the club. I think it's not a small faction. I think it might be a smaller faction who make the protest tonight, but I think there's fairly widespread support in terms of not making the appointment. I think it would be fairly unanimous across the board of the supporters. And I think the protest will continue. I think for as long as there is a possibility of it, I think the protest will go on.
Yes, well, let's hope it doesn't affect the team too much, but I can understand the machinations behind that protest. We all can, because there's a real depth of feeling about that appointment, as you say. Now, Celtic are trying to maybe get a wee revenge mission for what happened in September. Alison, 4-3, Celtic played very well, but they came away with nothing. It'd be nice to get something against Real Betis just for that one.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure it won't be seen as a revenge mission. I think Celtic played particularly well in glimpses in that game, if you recall, and then were undone just by cheap goals and quick goals. I think it's maybe the campaign almost in microcosm. I think you've seen flashes of how formidable Celtic can be from middle to front. I think although they have the best domestic defensive record in the league, I think in Europe you've seen issues there at the back. I think there is still work to be done in a defensive context. I think just for where they are this month, what they are trying to build, I think they won't want to come off tonight on the back of a fairly sapping defeat. I think you'll want to go and give a decent account of yourself and try and take something. We know it's irrelevant in terms of progression that Celtic will go into the Conference League now in the new year. We know that there's no possibility of staying in the tournament. However, I think you always want to give a decent account of yourself. I think it's an opportunity for a few players to get a bit of first-time experience, a bit of European experience, and some time into the legs, guys that maybe haven't been playing regularly over the last few months.
Now, Alison and I had the pleasure of being at the press conference yesterday, and I sat in front of Ange. We spoke about it in the briefing in the morning, about the kind of narrative that was being discussed about Kyogo being at best branded a diver, but at worst case scenario being branded a cheat. And yes, it was me who asked the question. Brad McCune says, did you ask the Kyogo question? I did ask the Kyogo question about the framing of that narrative, and Ange gave quite an emphatic answer. For those who weren't around, this is what he said. Who are these brave people and these warriors? Kyogo is the size of a jockey, and he's playing against guys who are almost a foot taller than him, and these brave warriors on the outside are casting aspersions. I haven't read it, and I won't read it, and if you end up in arguments with ignorant people, you become one of them. I kind of ignore that narrative of criticism as you painted it. I think Kyogo has been great for our football club and has been great for Scottish football, and I would be surprised if anyone wouldn't want someone of his character and playing ability in their club and in their league. Beyond that, as I said, who are all these brave soldiers sitting in their studios and lounge rooms or wherever, throwing these narratives across the bay? That's as emphatic as it gets, Alison, is it not?
It is indeed. It is indeed. It's a very Ange answer now, I think we can say. But yeah, I think you can see his point. I think we spoke about it at length yesterday about our own thoughts on the matter. I think he's right to reference his physical frame. I think he's very slight. And I think he has made the most of context. I do think cheat is fairly disparaging. I think it's taken a bit too far, but I think you can see at times he has gone down fairly easily.
Yeah, we spoke about that. I've said a couple of times there was some histrionics, but the diver and cheat label was, she says, disingenuous and disparaging. David Bradley comes in, morning David. Tony, are you one of the Warriors big Ange's looking out for? Don't know, he did call me mate at one point, but I'm sure it was in a good way. And there we go. Brian Roberts going, great response. Yep, that's what we think as well. Yep, definitely. There you go. So now, Alison woke up this morning to some other news, not directly concerning Celtic, but it does in a way. Jack Ross has parted company with Hibs. Now that's a strange one. 11, well, maybe not so strange, but 10 days before the cup final, Hibs had lost 7 of their last 9. You were there last night. Livingston won, Hibernian 0. Saw the Martin Boyle penalty, 2 players sent off, and a lot of people saying that they were as bad as the result made out. Now that kind of throws the Hibs into disarray ahead of the cup final, and could that work in Celtic's favour with the new manager coming in, not have much time to actually be in the door, and first game will probably be the cup final?
I'm not sure. It's a difficult question to answer. I think, first of all, I was through Livingston last night. I was working, and I thought Hibs were abject. I thought the performance was fairly shocking, to be honest with you. I think they had a couple of chances inside the opening minutes. I think Andrew Shiny had to clear an effort off the line, head an effort off the line. But other than that, there was just nothing. They lacked any kind of fluency, any spark. They never looked likely of scoring. I thought Martin Boyle's penalty was, it just summed up their night, I think.
Dixie Deans-esque, I think you'll find.
Yeah, and to be honest, I didn't actually think it was a penalty either. There was a more legitimate award that they could have got after that and then didn't. But I thought it was a poor night for Hibs. I was surprised this morning when the news broke about them sacking Jack Ross. But in terms of what it means for Celtic now, I'm not sure. One of my first thoughts might have been Celtic are well aware of a manager who's out of work and who's previously been a Hibs manager. I wonder if could there be a second stint for Neil Lennon at Easter Road? I don't know. But it's an interesting one. I think you're right in terms of going in, and it could be a first day in the job for someone. I had my own feelings where that I thought Hibs would probably hang on to get to the League Cup final before then making a call. I think last night you could sense the anger of the Hibs support, and you could, when you look at it in black and white in terms of the points that they've picked up in the games that have lost. I think they've won only 2 league games since August, both wins over St Johnstone. I think that's been it. You can just see how angry people were, but I have to say it did take me aback this morning, because I thought they would hang on until after that game at Hampden.
John Curry comes in. This can work 2 ways. Obviously, Alison, I hope Hibs don't get a new manager bounce upwards before the cup final next week, and that's a very good point, because lots of new managers, you do get a new manager bounce with the initial few games.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've seen it time and time again. When you get that, I think from Celtic's point of view, it's entirely out with their control. Their own feeling will be that they look inwards and they look to the things that they can affect. What goes on elsewhere really is out of their control. So I'm sure maybe there'll be a watching with interest, but essentially it'll be about what they do themselves and what they can influence in terms of the game.
And what they can influence is tonight is going out with a bang, and the Europa Conference League awaits. Now, we've put in our team, Alison, on the website. Everybody's kind of coming in and saying that they would rest all sorts of players for tonight. Lanky 67, this is his team for tonight. Bain, JJ, Starfelt, Scales, Monty, Sorrow, McCarthy, Turnbull, Abada, Ajeti, and Jamesy. So it's caused a real debate, this one, isn't it, about the resting of key players for this one, and bearing in mind Motherwell is a bigger game in the week.
Yeah, I think the league games will always take priority at the minute, just given where Celtic are. They're 4 points behind. Don't think they can afford to drop any more points. So I think if you looked at the week, then yeah, you would be prioritising the Motherwell game. I think it's a significant fixture. I think Motherwell have been incredibly inconsistent this season. I don't think you ever quite know what you're going to get. Sometimes they've been outstanding, they've been impressive. Tony Watt, I think, is in the form of his life just now. Yeah. Other times they've been off the boil this season. But I think, yeah, in terms of Celtic, it's the biggest game of their week.
Tim Anon comes in and says, I don't think we have enough numbers to make wholesale changes, but a win would be a nice way to finish the campaign. That's I think that would be a good way to round it all up and give some more confidence. Michael Quinn, maybe tongue-in-cheek, morning, Ajeti for a brace tonight. Anton P comes in, Scales, 90 minutes tonight. David Bradley, McCarthy has to start tonight. So I think a lot of people are thinking along the same lines as ourselves, Alison, that guys like Scales coming in, possibly McCarthy, Sorrow, Beaton, and I think you've got James Forrest, haven't you? And maybe not Ajeti.
Yeah, I thought maybe sometimes play Forrest as a striker, which I know he's done it at times in the past, or it could be Ajeti I think is another consideration. I'm just thinking it might be a way to get minutes into Forrest, just given how much time he's been out. I think he could probably do with keeping playing, just to try and get up to proper match sharpness. Yeah.
And Rab McCune comes in, says, I think we're capable of going deep in the Conference Cup. Well, we'll find that out in the fullness of time. Rab, to be fair, and Lanky 67, I've watched Motherwell games in the last 3 or 4 weeks. They play pretty well on counter-attack. We will need to watch Mugabe and Watt on Sunday. You touched upon that there. That I think Tony Watt is the league's top scorer, isn't he?
Yeah, I think I was at a press conference over the summer when he'd spoken just about how hard he'd been working and training on his own and doing all sorts of stuff, and just it changed his mentality too a bit. I think just prioritising his fitness at all times, and I think he's seen the rewards for that just now. I think he's probably been one of Motherwell's best players this season.
And before anybody asks, no, it's not a Motherwell tracksuit I've got on. It's a Melchester Rovers 1980s goaler Royal Rovers tracksuit, just in case you want to get that out there. It's not Partick Thistle or any other team that you can think of that plays in red and black and yellow. Yes, indeed. Well, Alison, it's I think that kind of wraps it up, and we hope that Celtic can finish their Europa League group stages with the Flurries and take some confidence and move into Sunday. But the challenges are coming thick and fast now. As you say, it's such a crucial month, and it will have a massive bearing on the season moving forward, and also going into January, where they will be able to strengthen with some reinforcements.
Yeah, I agree. I think definitely the ambition will be to try and take something from tonight's game, but I think regardless of the outcome this evening, it'll be very quickly about switching focus to the games that are coming up.
Brilliant. Thank you guys for your comments. We always try and read as many as we can out. Hopefully you enjoy the game tonight, and whatever Celtic team is played, they turn up and they get a result, and we'll be back tomorrow morning to dissect it all over again. Thanks very much, and thanks, Alison, for your contribution. Always enjoy it.
Thank you.